Yeah, just waking up can tell it's gonna be a great day. Look out my window, sun shining on the freeway. For one day I'm getting paid enough. I'm barely out of bed, I'm already blazing up.
What's up, my wizards? It's Dev from SBMTG on the YouTube.com down there. You know by now, the whole spiel, right? Anyway, today, as usual, got a deck for you, and it's your favorite thing, a budget deck. And this one, actually pretty dang competitive, if I say so myself. So, let me go ahead and show you what we got. This is Blue-Red Dynavolt Tower. Well, in my last video, I told you about what I think are the top 10 budget rares in Standard for under $1. Check that out. Open it in a new tab. But anyway, spoiler alert, the number one card on that list, give you time to pause, is Dynavolt Tower. And I truly believe that this card is the best card in Standard for under $1 right now, because this card has actually taken lists to the top 8 of relatively big events, Star City Invitational qualifiers and stuff. So this card no one ever sees coming and is a lot better than people think it is. Let me show you what I've got for just 35 bucks. Start things off, I might as well tell you about the playset of Dynavolt Towers. I've seen some tower lists that only run 3 Dynavolt Towers. That's that's hogwash to me, honestly. You play all 4 copies of this. You want to see it all game, you want to draw into it as often as possible, and multiple copies are great. If you have 2 copies of them all on the board at the same time, then one spell will get you almost as much energy as you need to tap the thing for a lightning bolt. Dynavolt Tower is actually a really versatile card. It allows you to do a lot more stuff than you might think, and in this deck, it allows you to use your burn spells a little bit more liberally against creatures, because you'll know that you'll be able to tower them in the face a couple of times off all the energy that you're producing, you know? Early game, then you can go ahead and use those Incendiary Flows and other burn spells on small creatures. You'll be gaining energy through Dynavolt Tower. Usually, you know, burn decks, you'll hit their creatures a few times. By the time you get to them, when they're starting to run out of resources, you got no burn. You're both in top deck mode. That kind of sucks. Dynavolt Tower gives you some insurance against that situation. You'll be gaining energy the whole time, and by the time you start running out of burn in your hand, you'll have a few energy that you can go ahead and tower them with. That's cool. Also, if these creature-based decks get on board against you a little too quickly, then you don't have to hit them in the face with the tower either. You can just kill one of their guys, Dynavolt Tower one of their guys. It's just another burn spell in a lot of ways, but this one we can use over and over, making it a really awesome burn spell. But the real meat and potatoes of the deck is all the spells, because we're playing Dynavolt Tower, you know? We have to play a butt ton of instants and sorceries to get all the value out of that card. So, how do we do it? Well, mostly we're going to play burn and card draw. Let me show you the burn first right here. We're going to play 4 copies of Harness Lightning, 4 copies of Incendiary Flow, 4 Fiery Tempers, and 4 Collective Defiances. That's a lot of burn spells. Now, Harness Lightning is the only one of these cards that doesn't hit the opponent in the face, but it's probably still the best burn spell in Standard. It's instant speed, it can kill Smuggler's Copter pretty easily, and it can kill smaller guys like Inspector or, you know, Veteran Motorist maybe, and leave behind energy, which is really, really important with Dynavolt Tower always. So, even if this card like didn't do anything but produce energy, we'd probably play it, but it goes along with the plan and kills small creatures, goes ahead and gets creatures out of the way so that we can dedicate our burn with Dynavolt Tower to the opponent's dome. That's cool. Incendiary Flow may not be instant speed, and so it doesn't kill Smuggler's Copter, blah blah, but honestly, for just 2 mana, 3 damage is great. Like, why do you not want that? It can still kill, like, Veteran Motorist, it can kill Thraben Inspector, it can kill Toolcraft Exemplar, a million different creatures, just not Smuggler's Copter. And Incendiary Flow, importantly here, can hit the opponent right in the grill, so we're going to definitely play all 4 copies of that. Fiery Temper is another 3 damage to the dome or to a creature, so play that. Obviously, I'm down with hard casting this, honestly, but when we can play it for Madness, it's awesome, and we can do that off of the Collective Defiance that are in the deck. Collective Defiance is so good, you guys. There's so many options on it. You can hit your opponent in the face, you can hit a Planeswalker instead, you can hit a creature for 4, that's like a Grasp of Darkness, that's going to be pretty important, one would say, or you can go ahead and get the Madness, with a Fiery Temper. If you discard your hand, draw that many cards. That's always a good ability unto itself. And of course, if you want to put extra mana into it, you can get 2 or 3 of these. So, like, Collective Defiance is so good. It's so versatile. It does a lot of things. And it can be recast by Goblin Dark Dwellers. Just goodness. Just play it. Play the card. It's gone down quite a bit at this point. It used to be like $5 or $7. But it just didn't get played with. But this is the deck for it. Honestly, I don't know why more people aren't playing the 4 of Collective Defiance in these lists. But a lot of these lists aren't necessarily burn lists. This one is, so we're going to play a whole playset of Defiance. Card is awesome. Now, we want to be slinging spells all game, you know. We want to be playing a spell, hitting him in the face, getting energy, tapping tower, playing a spell, hit him in the face, all that. But we can't do that without a sustainable plan of card draw. We have to at least have card selection, if not card advantage in the deck. So with that in mind, let's take a look at our card draw here. We're going to play 3 copies of Tormenting Voice, 4 copies of Anticipate, and 4 copies of Glimmer of Genius. Now, you could switch the copies of Tormenting Voice and Anticipate here if you wanted a little bit more insurance on Fiery Temper. Make sure you get the madness on that. But we've also got Collective Defiance for that, and I think 3 Tormenting Voice is just enough, because I really don't want to have to discard cards that I don't want to discard, to be honest with you. But Anticipate is just really fantastic card selection, and if we have a Dynavolt Tower in play, nets us 2 energy for our card selection. So yeah, just 2 mana, select the best card out of the top 3. It's perfect for this deck. And then Glimmer of Genius, the only thing that you can't recast with a Goblin Dark Dwellers in this deck, but still totally worth it. Glimmer of Genius gives us energy to spend however we want to, usually on Dynavolt Tower, and gets us card advantage, and is mega good card selection. You know, we get to look at basically up to 4 cards here. Which is just freaking great. So everything about Glimmer is perfect for the deck. I don't really care that we can't recast it with Goblin Dark Dwellers. It's just that good. Now, we really want to play mostly instants and sorceries in this deck, so we don't have a whole lot of room, especially considering we have to jam Tower in there to play other cards. But there are a couple of cards that I think are important enough to warrant playing in this deck, and we still end up having 27 instants and sorceries, which is more than enough. So what do we have room for creature-wise? I definitely think we'll start with 3 copies of Thermo-Alchemist right here. Again, just got crazy instants and sorceries all day, so Thermo-Alchemist is going to add like up to 5 or 6 damage per game. You know, that's really, really good if we have an Alchemist out and he doesn't die, you know. So Alchemist is just so awesome. Like, it only hits players, but that also includes Planeswalkers, by the way. When you hit a player, you can always redirect the damage to a Planeswalker. So this can do a lot of work for you over the course of the game, and even if it only adds up to 2 or 3 extra damage, that's about on par for 2 mana, so not too bad at all. And some games it'll end up being like 8 to 10 damage for you, which is just ridiculous. And if it does over like 5 damage, you've got a really good chance of winning the game. And multiple Alchemist out at the same time is a nightmare for a lot of people. And the other creature I think we have room for is a 2 of Goblin Dark Dwellers in the deck. Now, this pushes the curve a little ways up, and a lot of people might only want to play 21 or 22 lands in the deck. I think I'll push it to 23 lands. I think it's worth it to play Goblin Dark Dwellers in there, man. This thing is a ridiculous bomb play on turn 5, 6, or even 12. You know, whatever. If we play this thing again on turn, like, whatever, a million, you know, then we're still recasting a thing out of our graveyard. We're still getting energy off of Dynavolt Tower. That's really cool, and we're still getting a 4/4 body with Menace, which, if we've been able to keep the board clear, is a great play on turn, you know, 5 through 6, 7, you know. So, love Goblin Dark Dwellers, you know. It allows us to actually cast that card for free, which triggers Dynavolt Tower. I love that interaction, and I've just always loved Goblin Dark Dwellers. Always. This is also in the top 3 of my, you know, best budget cards under $1 video, because I've always had a soft spot for Dark Dwellers. The card is just absolutely unbelievable in a lot of situations, and it's tailor-made for a deck like this, and is another win condition, so yes. Another piece of tech, by the way, that I just want to point out before I move on from Goblin Dark Dwellers, is that if you recast a Collective Defiance out of your graveyard, you can totally pay extra mana and escalate it. Totally legal. Now, when all is said and done here, I've got one more slot left in this deck. It could be the 4th Thermo-Alchemist, it could be the 4th Tormenting Voice. All that stuff is pretty boring, though. So, I think we've got room for just a silver bullet weirdo card that does something really cool. Let's try a 1 of Harness the Storm in the deck. That's right, we did it. I've only been playing with this thing in the deck for a couple of days now. I've gotten a few games in with it, but it's really impactful when it does hit the board, and if the game goes really long, this thing can give you the reach that you need to actually win. Got an Incendiary Flow in your graveyard? Play another one, pay the extra 2 mana for the one in your graveyard. That's 4 mana for 6 damage, and if you got a tower out, that's a couple of energy. Tap your tower, deal 3 more damage. That's like 9 damage in 1 turn for a whole 4 mana. Really, really good off of Harness the Storm. We can also, you know, cast another Glimmer of Genius really, really late game and get butt tons of card advantage and all the energy in the world. Tap our tower, hit him for 3, you know, just really fantastic card when it does work, but I don't want to overflow it. I don't want to fill the deck with a ton of copies of this. I just want it to be a thing that can happen, especially if the game goes long. We're drawing a bunch of cards in this deck, so not too hard to hit the 1-of copy of Harness. And even though there's only 1 copy of the card, it's influenced the deck's design a little bit in the couple of days since it's been in there. I was playing 3-ofs, a few different things, you know, but instead I've just cleaned it up and given us 6 different play sets of instants and sorceries so that we can maximize the value on this thing. 23 lands in the deck, and I want to keep it as budget as possible, but still want to play the Aether Hubs. Even if we never use them to tap for colored mana, they still give us an energy when they enter the battlefield. That, in and of itself, is worth paying the, $250 a piece for, the $10 playset, basically. But, go ahead and get your playset for this deck, and then you'll have Aether Hub the whole time it's in Standard, and you'll play it the whole time it's in Standard. I guarantee you the card sees all the play in, almost every deck. So go ahead and get your Aether Hubs if you haven't already, please. Here's a 15-card sideboard right here. Dispel is against control decks and stuff like that, and mostly instant speed removal. But we don't see a whole lot of those anymore, not as many as we saw at the beginning of the format. But we are getting Disallow and Aether Revolt, so who knows? Control might make a huge comeback. I don't know. But Dispel is still pretty important against instant speed removal, and especially after boards against things like Appetite for the Unnatural and Natural State against our Dynavolt Tower. So look out for those. Ceremonious Rejection is in there instead of Galvanic Bombardment, which is crazy, but there's really not a whole lot of aggro either in the format. It's a lot of Aetherworks decks and a lot of Green-Black Delirium, Blue-White Flash, a couple other things. But there's really not a whole lot of aggro, so we don't have to worry about playing Bombardment as much. Depends on your local meta, obviously, but I think Ceremonious Rejection is the more important card to play right now. Countering Color of Spells is great against nearly everything. Counters Smuggler's Copter, counters Aetherworks Marvel, counters Emrakul, whatever. That's awesome. The 2 Lightning Axe are in there against bigger creatures and as another madness outlet should we feel like we need that, but mostly against bigger creatures if we run across them. We're playing a little bit more of a counter package here. A lot of our sideboard is counters. Revolutionary Buff is another thing that can counter Emrakul pretty easily, because a lot of times when they play Emrakul, they will be tapping all of their available mana to cast Emrakul. And yes, you can counter Emrakul. An Emrakul, she doesn't have pro instance while she's on the stack. Now they'll still get to take control of your next turn, and that can really suck, but they won't have a 13/13 flying stupid thing out there to kill you with. We really suck against Emrakul if they get her on the board. We have a very hard time answering her, so we've got to counter her. With that in mind, Rebuff is in there, Ceremonious Rejection is in there, and Summary Dismissal is also in there against Emmy, just so we can counter her and her cast trigger at the same time. Negate is in there against Planeswalkers and removal and stuff like that. Aetherworks Marvel it also counters, so that's good. Smuggler's Copter, lots of stuff. Heart of Kiran after Aetherworks, or after Aether Revolt, so Negate's just looking better all the time. And then the One of Perpetual Timepiece, which is a pretty flexible sideboard slot, but I like it just in case the game goes really long. We can go ahead and put all of our burn back into our deck, and that will really help us out. And here are your power rankings right here. A final score of 63, just approaching mid-60s for $35 is a really good deal. And it's pretty easy to boost this deck up with a few bucks. You want to add Spirebluff Canals to the mana base. That'll increase the consistency to a 9.5, round up to a 10, and Torrential Gearhulk. If you've got any copies of those, put that stupid thing in. Torrential Gearhulk is ridiculous and should go in here. Just way too out of the budget for this deck. So just keep that in mind. If you've got Torrential Gearhulk, yes, do it. Take out the Thermo-Alchemist, whatever. Just put the stupid thing in there. Now, that isn't to say that the deck doesn't have its problems. You'll notice that a lot of these scores are middle of the road. We don't do anything astoundingly well, and we're not horrible at anything. But there's some cards that if we run up against them, we're in trouble. We don't have a whole lot of ways, main deck at least, of dealing with Aetherworks Marvel, and they'll usually be able to easily race us. They just want to, turn 4 or 5. They'll get their Emrakul. We're not anywhere close to that kind of production, so that leads to an issue. Same thing with Green-Black Delirium, if we're going into the long game with them, picking off their guys, we're in the game. If they cast an Emrakul, we're in trouble if we can't do anything about it, We also have a problem killing creatures that are above 3 toughness. That's a real issue. We've got Collective Defiance, but other than that, there's really no thing. Like if a Sylvan Advocate gets to 5 toughness or something, or a Tireless Tracker gets to 5 toughness, we are in a fair amount of trouble with that creature. Because we don't have a whole lot of chump blockers for it or anything. So there is that to consider. Sometimes we can combo up a Fiery Impulse or something with a Dynavolt Tower and kill something that has 6 toughness. Totally possible, but in that case, I feel like we're still in a way getting 2 for 1 because we did all that work for that energy. We're losing it, So the deck does have its foibles, but it's also really, really fun, very, very consistent, draws you a bunch of cards, hits your opponent's creatures to death, hits them in the face, and gets you a bunch of extra value for your instants and sorceries off Dynavolt Tower. The deck is immensely enjoyable, and if it gets some breathing room and gets a chance to start getting the energy it needs for the tower, you can really close games out quickly. I already told you about the 9 damage play with the Harness the Storm and Incendiary Flow, but we've got multiple ways of doing that. If you just have 5 mana, something like that, and you cast, let's just say, Collective Defiance, and hit them for 3 damage. You can also pay an extra mana, we're up to 4 mana now, and discard your hand. Pay that 5th mana and go ahead and get the Madness on Fiery Temper. We're up to 6 damage right here. If you've got enough to tap your tower, you can tap it and deal 3. That's 9 damage. So for 5 mana, 2 spells, you just did 9 damage to your opponent. And one more time, it's only $35 right now. And you'll get a playset of towers. That comes with, a playset of Aether Hubs, which is really, really important. It comes with a playset of Harness Lightnings, which is really, really important. You're getting some important standard cards that you'll be able to slot into a bunch of other decks if you pay the $35 for this super fun, competitive deck that can really go a long way at your F&M. But what are we doing next time? Next time is going to be the Christmas video, and I'm going to give you all what it seems like you want in the comments section of the the budget cards video that I keep referencing. I know, watch it, it's really good, so people say. In the comments of that video, a lot of people want me to do the $100 deploy the Gatewatch Super Friends Planeswalkers deck that I talked about. In that video, I said that you could probably make a Planeswalkers deck for under $100 in the standard, and I've got one that's right at $100, and I want to give that to you as a Christmas present, probably like December 23rd, something like that. I'm actually going on vacation. I'm going to Savannah for 3 days here. Savannah's my favorite town in Georgia. Love it. Can't freaking wait to going tomorrow, but I'm going to be out for 3 days. I may do like a short vlog or something while I'm out there. I'm not sure yet. But going to do that, so you guys have missed me for a couple of days. But after that, I'll come back and I'll immediately get the $100 Planeswalker deck video up. So be on the lookout for that. Also, I didn't rip the backdrop down or anything in anger. It's nothing like that. There's these hooks that hold it up, and they just fell like right before I started this video. Which we've got hooks holding up curtain rods and stuff all over our apartment, and lately they've just been dropping like flies. Like the curtain rod over here fell the other day. The curtain rod over there fell the other day. So I think it's maybe a humidity thing or changing temperature thing. I'm not sure. But anyway, all I'm saying is that by act of God or whatever, it's act of science, the backdrop fell. And I looked at it and I was like, I'm wearing a white shirt on a white backdrop. Probably would look stupid anyway. So I'm just going with this. Let me know how you feel about it. Anyway, tapped out for now. Let me know how you felt about this one in the comments section. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment if you got something to say, because there's a lot of cool things to say about this deck. And, let me know what I missed. Anything you'd want to put in there instead. Go ahead and suggest it down there in the comments. Make sure you hit the bell down there by the subscribe. I have to say, it's part of the YouTube spiel now, to make sure that you get notifications from me. We're getting our view count back up after a devastating loss. After YouTube changed its whole system. I had a few videos there that did not get like half the view count that I'm used to. So, thank you guys for hitting the bell. I know a lot of you have, because I was really scared there for a second, but we're all back. We're doing okay. Anyway, again, all I got for now, as usual, I'm Deb from SBMTG. Thanks for watching, my wizards. And I promise that a cat will be in the next video. There hasn't been a cat in like 2 videos. And since I moved in here, they're weird about being in here. But I'm going to go over there by the Christmas tree for the next video. And they love the Christmas tree, so I'm sure they'll be over there. But anyway, I'll see you next time, wizards. Thanks for watching.